Kyle Tucker. You can see Kansas City, they have all their defensive linemen out of the game. These are all linebackers, defensive ends.
Here we go. Hurts has all day. Now some rushers come. Going to throw it as far as his arm can take it, which is well short. And the Kansas City Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the final call of the final game of the season. Super Bowl 57 is in the books, and we are here to bring you all of the goings-ons as far as what we think, how we feel. I hate them. Tisha C, she's in the building again. Again, this is her show. This is Willie Epstein Jr., and this is a show divided. We got Mike Fuji and Brandy Fairfax waiting. Let's see. One of them is in the on deck circle, and the other one is in the bullpen. Shout out to the baseball season is upon us. It's coming up. Hashtag Brothers of Baseball show on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. Make sure y'all check that out with your boy Willie Epstein Jr. 12s and 6s, 1s and 7s, Monday through Friday on the BGC SEN 1 and 2, also on the TuneIn app, as well as all of your podcast platforms. Tisha, what's going on, sissy?
Oh my goodness. Now I'm glad to be here. Especially glad to be here. This could have gone one of two ways, and it happened to go my way. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I bet you are. Okay, so I want to go ahead and give credit to where credit is due, because even though I hate them, you got to give it up to Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and the bum ankle and the cortisone shot that he got, I'm sure, at halftime, and everything else that went along with that. But we're going to get to all that here in just a second. But Tisha, you know what we got to do, right?
Let's do it.
You know what we got to do. You already know what it is. Come on, y'all. Let's go get it. Here we go. Let's go. Come on. Already know what it is when you hear that music, man. It is a show divided, and it is the last show of the year. Tisha C, Willie Epstein Jr., courtesy of the Shakeback Media Group. We're going to bring in Mike and Brandy here right now. Brandy has a lot of things going on, and I've been trying to lasso her for a while now to come back, but you know, we always are privileged and proud whenever we have people doing big things in the business, and that is exactly what she's doing. She's taking some time out of her busy schedule to join us for this last episode of A Show Divided. There she is, Brandy Fairfax. What's happening?
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be back.
Yes, you are back indeed, and we're going to let you get to all of your stuff here before too long. But last but not least, and this is a new person to the family, he actually was on with us for the Super Bowl preview super show on Saturday. That it was a pretty good show. Not so much of the outcome of the game, but here he is anyway. Mike Fuji in all his splendor. Mike, what's up, man?
Thank you for having me. If I could come in like, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, hope everybody's good. Jalen Hurts, the man has nothing to be ashamed of. This man is going to win multiple Super Bowls. This man has got a future ahead of him in the NFL. To me, number 2 rated MVP. This Eagles offense has nothing to be ashamed of. It's that defense that didn't get it done in the second half. I hate to say it, but I'm going to keep it real on my team. They let Pat Mahomes. Congratulations to the Chiefs and you, Tisha, first of all. Andy Reid, ex-coach here, want to say congratulations to Chiefs Nation. You played a great game. You came back, dominated that second half. Congratulations and all Chiefs Kingdom and Super Bowl 57. I tip my hat to you.
Yeah, whatever. I am wearing a Kansas City Chiefs hat in respect of my girl, my co-host, or actually the star of the show, rather. We made a bet back in week whatever it was, and I just thought I would just surprise her by wearing this. I still hate them with the passion of 10 men. So we're gonna
I
get
thought you
into
would have burned that already.
Well, maybe I should have. Maybe I should have, but I didn't want. You know what? I wasn't gonna do that because you spent your hard-earned money on this for me, and I appreciate it. It's just not gonna get worn ever again after today. All right, guys. So we're gonna get to the Super Bowl. We're gonna get to some look ahead to the off-season free agency. Mike, both of your coordinators have now landed head coaching jobs in other cities. We're gonna get to that. But before we go there, y'all, let's talk about this senseless and another mass shooting that has taken place in our country. As you may have know or may know, 5 people. Is it 5 people? I mean, is it 5 or 3? I think it's 5. 5 people have been killed at the hands of a 43-year-old gunman who randomly opened fire on the campus of Michigan State University in East Lansing, Michigan. He did not have any ties to the university as a student, as an employee, didn't know anybody there. Obviously, this is one of those things where it's just really, really random. The gunman, as cowardly as he is, wound up turning the gun on himself. Brandy, you are up there in Big Ten country. So let us know, let the people hear your thoughts on what has taken place. Essentially was not that far from you.
Yeah, I'm in Cleveland, so it's only a few hours away. But yeah, it's hard. I saw this girl on TikTok actually. Her video, she was a student currently at Michigan State. She's 21 years old, but she said that she also was one of the kids at Sandy Hook. So she was like going through like, why is this the second, mass shooting that she's had to go through? But it's just terrible to see, people shouldn't have to go through that once, but seeing it twice, that's horrible.
Yeah, I actually saw something on I want to say it was ABC News early in the morning on Tuesday. I don't know if it was the same person or not, but she was talking about how it was just a frightening scene, and she was thankful that she was able to finally talk to her mom. And it's just, when is enough? I mean, it's like we have gotten to a point to where this has become a little bit too normalized, and once is enough. 2 is way too many times. And we don't know the motive. We don't know any of that. And I can only think about, I shouldn't say only, but what comes to my mind is those kids, like you mentioned, Brandy, that are college students. And college students, you go to college, you're not there thinking about that, something like that happening. And then if you've been through that already before, like the young girl from Sandy Hook had been through, you're like, okay, you start thinking all kind of things. And then this is where mental health really comes into play. Mike, your quick thoughts on East Lansing and the situation up there in terms of what happened with the mass shooting.
It's just sad. I mean, it's when you get, like you said, when you get into the whole mental health aspect today, it's so widespread. God forbid, you just don't know where something like this is going to happen. I mean, I hate to say it, bring it up, but I mean, you go back to Columbine back in, I believe it was like 1999. It like really
95
stems from, was it 95?
95, yeah.
I mean, you go back almost 30 years, and this basically stems from all that. All these mass shootings, whether it's schools, a shop, a mall. I think I remember this happening back in I know it was it was Virginia Tech. This happened on a college campus, and it's just sad. It's just the wrong place at the wrong time. You just, it's just sad. And, it's, you can just go on the internet today and just order any kind of AR, any kind of rifle, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
People just some people just have no respect for life, which is so precious.
Yeah. And I think that's putting the nail on it right there. There's no respect for life. I mean, not just other people's life, but for sure not your own. Tisha, I know this is something that's when it comes to any type of situation traumatic, I know this is something that you're an advocate for. Kind of speak on what your thoughts are right now.
Oh, I think everybody, said it really well. It's just absolutely, gut wrenching, heartbreaking, should not still be happening. It's really, honestly, it's truly terrible. It's a hard thing to process as somebody that's obviously not even there. Like you guys said, for the poor people that were there and that had to endure it twice, like my heart's just broken.
Yeah, and let us send up our most sincere, heartfelt prayers and well wishes and thoughts and positive vibes to all of those families up there in East Lansing and around the country, because it's a college campus. So you got people from all over the world, really. So everybody up there that's been affected, and that even goes to the shooter's soul and all of his family members. So it's just another thing that we have to contend with and talk with. And at some point, it's got to be where we're not going to ever see this again. So, all right, so let's move on. Oh, by the way, Tisha, I forgot to do it. Thank you guys out there for checking us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and say it with me, Tisha.
All right.
Come on.
Twitter. You're so much better at it than me.
All right, so that's for the Shakeback Media Group, and of course, SSN_LV Raiders. That is my Raider content only Twitter page. So make sure you guys get out there, subscribe, subscribe again, and also don't forget to subscribe. Okay, let's get to the game. I don't know if you guys happen to watch it. I know at least two people on here did. One's not so happy, and the other one is beside herself. I think we can tell which one is which. So, Kansas City Chiefs, after getting the first round bye in the AFC with the number 1 seed, they beat up the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC divisional round. They hold off the Cincinnati Bengals and recapture Arrowhead from Burrowhead. They go into the big insurance policy in Glendale, Arizona, known as State Farm Stadium, against a team that was, in my opinion, better than them across the board, with the exception of the quarterback spot. It did not seem to matter to Patrick Mahomes as they got a 38-35 victory over those Philadelphia Eagles. Patrick Mahomes is your MVP, second Super Bowl victory for the Chiefs in the last 4 years, third time they've been to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years. Jalen Hurts had a whale of a game. Mike alluded to it in the opening part of the show. They have nothing to worry about there. But let's get to let's get to Patrick Mahomes real quick, because I want to ask you guys this. And Brandon, we're going to start with you. How close is Patrick Mahomes to becoming a top 3 quarterback of all time?
I think he's pretty close. You look at how he's been able to get these 2 rings in the past, 4 seasons. He played, through that ankle injury, but, a lot of people have been comparing him to Tom Brady, but you look at, the start of Tom Brady's career wasn't as good as Patrick Mahomes. So, in his first 5 seasons, he made it to 5 AFC championships. So I think, he's definitely making a run to be one of the top quarterbacks.
Mike, he did it yet to another team, and this time it was your team. What are your feelings about Patrick Mahomes and seeing what he's done, really since he became the starter in Kansas City? What are your thoughts with this particular win over your Eagles? Where does this place him in terms of becoming one of the top quarterbacks that you've ever seen?
I'd say right now he's the best in the game. He's on his way. Just keep it going. Just keep, the sky's the limit. Him and Andy Reid. It's just like Brady and Belichick, but, it's the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah. So, Tisha, I know you looking like the cat over there that ate the canary. This grin on your face, it is classic. I want to ask you this question. Are you going to say right now that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback ever?
No. No. Not ever. That's crazy. Right now, for sure. He still has a long way to go. It's going to take a long time to get there, I think. Does he have it? I think so. He also has, a lot of tools, like Mike said, with Andy, with his brothers in football. It's not just Pat, but does he have the talent? I absolutely think so. I think we're going to see still really, really great things, but I think it's going to obviously still going to take some time and a lot of effort. I mean, he clearly has it to give. So hopefully keep it up. But yeah, I think he's definitely on his way.
Yeah, I'm going to say this real quick. If they somehow get one more in the next 2 years and then he finishes his career with another one, giving him 4, I think he will surpass Joe Montana as the second greatest quarterback to ever play. All right, Mike, this is your guy. Did Jalen Hurts silence his critics?
Absolutely. I mean, the only thing, I think Jalen did answer the bell, but that fumble just. Besides that, the man would, he brought him back. They came down in the fourth quarter, brought him back to 6, took it in for the 2-point conversion. This man's not a quitter. This man's 24 years old. The sky's the limit. I think you're going to see a little Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes battling it out within the next couple years. I think this man is a leader. He was, his father coached him in high school. I mean, 24 years old, the man's a leader of men. And yeah. I'm not being a homer. I can actually say Philadelphia does have a true franchise quarterback, and the man better get paid now. Right. But he's not worrying about that after what he said today at the NovaCare here in Philly. He said he's just worried about championships. He said they could talk about the contract another day. This man is still hurting. He was crying in that press conference. You could just tell the fire's in his belly. The Philadelphia passion, the fans love him. We adopted this. I mean, it's like the son I never had.
All right. Rocky! Brandy, Mahomes, is he rapidly becoming one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks that has ever done it in this league?
I think so. I agree with what you said. Definitely, in the next couple of seasons, if he gets another ring, I think he's definitely there.
And what about Jalen Hurts? Has he silenced his critics?
Definitely, I think so. This whole season, everyone was saying it's the system, but I think it's Jalen Hurts. He definitely played a really well game besides the fumble. But other than that, like he said, he's only 24 years old. This was his 3rd season. They're a young team, but they're definitely going to be back next year.
I think so too. We're going to get to the free agency part of it towards the end of the show. They got a lot of things that they have to address for real. All right, so let's move on. Mike is having some technical difficulties, so whenever he comes back on, then we'll pick up whatever part of the show we're at. Andy Reid's legacy. Tisha, where is your coach? In your opinion, where does he rank all time amongst coaches with this particular victory?
All time is hard because I'm only a set number of years old. So, but I mean, I think as far as I'm concerned, he's my number 1 man. Come on.
So you're saying he's better than Belichick?
All around, yes, but you're talking to a Chiefs fan, so come on, man, give me a break.
Okay, and because I knew that was coming. I know this girl so well, y'all. The thing is that Belichick did beat Andy Reid in a Super Bowl back in whatever it was. I think that game was actually in the same stadium. Brandy, where is Andy Reid on your list of best coaches that you've ever seen, since Tisha want to be smart and funny?
Yeah, I would agree with that since I've seen coaches. But I think, from what I've seen, I would definitely put him in a top 5, especially looking at this, Super Bowl, the second half adjustments that he was able to make to get them the win, being down 10. That just speaks to such a great coach he was. Without, I think, Andy Reid as the coach, they wouldn't have came back to win that game.
I think Andy Reid is probably you know what? I'll say this. I'll say Belichick first, and then Chuck Noll. Chuck Noll won 4 Super Bowls in the 70s with the Steelers. I'll put to what's his name? Golly, I can't. No.
I'll say.
Huh?
I don't want to interrupt you. I was going to say Bill Walsh.
Yeah, you got to put Bill Walsh in there too. But in terms of what we know of today, Mike, where do you rank Andy Reid, and what do you think his legacy will be with this particular Super Bowl win?
Hey, he's definitely up there. I mean, he started here 14 years in Philly. It's 5 NFC total games, 1 Super Bowl appearance. Definitely one in the top 5, without a doubt. I mean, if he stays around, wins maybe 1 or 2 more, he's definitely in the lead.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be around for a while. He's only 64 years old, and you got to remember Bill Belichick is 71. So
right,
if he only goes just over half those amount of years between the difference between the two of them, with that team that he has, they could very well win at least 2 more. Oh my God, I'm going to throw up in my mouth right now. All right, let's talk about the penalty that was, but then it wasn't, but then it was again. Tisha, was this a good call at the end of the game?
It was great. What do you mean? I was a huge fan of the call. Lily, come on, man. What do you want me to say here? Was it actually a holding penalty? I believe so. I'm not even going to.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's been like that, but it's been like that all year. We've had games with questionable calls, and I mean that's just football.
Okay, well let's go to the other side of the coin. Because me and Brandy are like looking like this. It's a tennis match between you two. We're doing like this.
I know Mike has something to say.
So Mike, what do you think about not necessarily the call, or I'm sorry, not necessarily the penalty, but the call?
I mean, as far as Bradbury grabbing Juju?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the second one.
I don't know. To me, I don't want to sit here I mean, I saw the replay, and I could say, in a way, Bradbury did grab his hip. But to me, it's like these refs, no matter from week 1 of the Super Bowl, some of these refs are just flag happy, and they've been terrible for the last few years. So, I mean, my thing is just let them play the game. I mean, what are you going to – I want to say this flat out. I know we're going to get more into the game, but the Eagles just came out flat in the second half with that defense. Couldn't even sack Mahomes one time. And and I'm glad today Jonathan Gannon is gone from Philly. Maybe I might take some heat for it, but I don't care. But this team I want to say this. The Eagles beat themselves in a way. Like I said, I take my hat off to the Chiefs, but the Eagles had this game in hand. And they let it go.
Can I just really quickly? That's a scary thing, though, Mike. I know exactly how that feels. To lose a Super Bowl sucks, and you have a lot of heart in your quarterback, so that could be super scary. Just saying. I mean, like, good for you, but scary.
Right. I mean, like I said, Jalen Hurts answered the bell. I mean, minus the fumble, he brought the team back. This shows how much, a lion heart that the man has, that he wants to win.
Brandy, you're smiling over there. What you got? Look, we're going to stop the tennis match, and me and you going to have a conversation. Go ahead.
I think, Bradley in his post-game interview that he did, grab his jersey. But I think at that time of the game, I was like, Philly's probably going to get the ball back. And then I was like, it's about to go into overtime. But I think that's the time of the game. They should just let them play.
Yeah, I think the call was a call that, I mean, the play was worthy of the call. I don't think they should have made it at that time, because the one where Bradbury or whoever, yeah, it was Bradbury earlier. He had, that play earlier in the game was way more egregious than that one at the end, because on the first one he completely turned them. On this one, it was a little bit of a look, and I think the ball was even, it may not even been catchable if you ask me, but that's another story for another day. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, there was one call in the very beginning when Devontae Smith called a pass, and I forgot the defender's name on KC, went helmet to helmet. And nothing was thrown, and I was livid as
This is a family show.
I know. I was hot. Oh, I was furious.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Rightly so.
But it's like, they'll call what they want to call. And to me, it's the last game of the year. It's for the ultimate prize. Let's let these guys empty out everything on the tank on the field. Because it's not like the other three major sports where you got 7 games. It's one and done for the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah, and look, we need to give Tisha and her Chiefs their flowers. They did that. They did that, and we've joked all year. We've joked all year on this show about me hating them, and that's not really a joke. It's really the truth. But what I am saying is that for that team to undergo the adversity that they went through, and for that quarterback to get twisted up, his ankle to get twisted up like that against this defense, for them to do what they did, nothing short. So let's go ahead and give them their flowers and give them this. Oh, by the way, I hate them. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about some players. I mean, look, Derek Carr has already been released from the Raiders. What does that mean for the Raiders going forward in terms of a quarterback? I don't know. I really would like to know what the plan is. Brandy, your Saints, he's been in New Orleans, or had been in New Orleans for a couple of days. So the tea leaves that I am reading and hearing are saying that he's going to end up in the Big Easy. Your thoughts and feelings about Derek Carr coming to a Saints team that is loaded on defense and has a lot of weapons on offense?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing at quarterback. This past season, they were sitting Jameis once he was able to play. They were still going with Andy Dalton. So I don't know. I don't know what bringing in Derek Carr would necessarily do more than Jameis would do. When he was playing with the Saints, he wasn't playing too bad. And Derek Carr didn't have his best year with the Raiders.
Well, I will tell you this. The Saints are getting a dynamite leader. That's what they're getting. And they're getting a quarterback that is a definite upgrade over Jameis Winston, because he's not going to turn the ball over nearly as much. And they're getting a definite upgrade over Andy Dalton, because Andy Dalton he's never been that quarterback. Now, what the Saints have and what they could surround Derek Carr with, to me, they would become a top 3 or 4 contender in the NFC. For real. And I'm anxious to see if he gets there. I hate the Saints too, but I love Derek Carr. I wish we wouldn't have gotten rid of him. But you know what? I understand the business of it. And Josh McFraud, he's just that. In terms of the Philadelphia Eagles, Mike, y'all got a lot to deal with, man. I mean, I'm only going to name about 4 players off the bat. I'm going to name Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Jason Kelsey, of course, Bradbury, that's 5. So
Miles Sanders,
that's 6.
The list goes on and on.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that's number 7.
That's the number 1 priority.
So what's going to happen? What's going to happen, Mike?
Well, and there's about 19. Actually, I think there's about 9 starters. I mean, it's like 18, 19 guys. And, and I cringe because, Jalen deserves the big payday. But on the flip side, you can't my number 1 priority, besides paying Jalen Hurts, is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, because the Eagles traded a 3rd-round pick to the Saints, and no offense, they stole him, and he's a baller. I mean, he was laying the lumber on Pacheco the other night, and he's a gamer. Now, I think Fletcher Cox is gone.
Yeah.
I think Kelsey will be I think Kelsey's going to play one more year. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got another guy on this offensive line that plays right guard next between him and Lane Johnson, Isaac Salomalo, who was on the 27 Super Bowl team. So, he's another anchor with this team. And, the Eagles being, having the best offensive line in football, it's another piece that nobody's really talking about. But, Bradbury, Javon Hargrave, I would keep the Gravedigger because he's a beast.
Yeah, they need him.
I mean, to me, Miles Sanders is gone. I mean, he could. Then again, he could take the lower money because you ain't going to pay a running back anymore. So I wouldn't want to be Howie Roseman right now because, I believe Jalen Hurts is going to get $50 million a year. Whew. And I'd give him 6 years, $300 million, just depending on what Lamar Jackson sets the bar at. And I think Joe Burrow's I don't know if his contract's coming up, but he might be due for his too.
That's the thing, Mike. You have Justin Herbert, you have Joe Burrow, and you have
that's right.
And Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. They're all coming up, here within the next couple year or next year or two. All right, so
right.
Let me ask you guys this because we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here in just a minute. Way too early favorites for next season to get to Vegas. I actually had tweeted this after the game on Sunday. I actually tweeted a couple things. I said, let the rig talk begin, but that was because of the call. And then I said, let's talk about the way too early in terms of who's going to get back to the Super Bowl and in Vegas next season. I think it's safe to say that we believe Kansas City's going to get there, or they're like the favorite. Do we agree on that?
I would say so right now.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Uh-huh. Raise your hand.
I'm home for the rig if it goes my way.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I was looking at their situation, and theirs is not nearly as dire as Philly's because they have a couple free agents. I mean, Dunlap, he's up there in age. Juju Smith-Schuster only signed for 1 year. Orlando Brown, he was already upset at his contract when they put the tag on him. They're gonna have to deal with Ronald Jones II. Really, he didn't really do much. Jerick McKinnon, who's a big piece of that team, and then Jerick McKinnon as well. So I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are clear head and shoulders above everybody else. I would throw Cincinnati in there next. I'm not really sold on what Buffalo is because Josh Allen has taken a step back, in my opinion, with his quarterback play. And then the NFC. The NFC continues to be wide open. I'm a little concerned about all the we just talked about with Philadelphia. I don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Where do y'all think he's going to end up next year? Go, Brandy. Where do you think he's going to end up?
I don't know. He might go back with Devontae Adams in Vegas.
Would you take him? Would you take AR-12?
I would. We may have to give up some draft capital, but I think we could probably get him for 2 more years and then he'll walk off. But
right.
Too many times Aaron Rodgers has been the reason why his team has not gotten past San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. I said it. Don't give me them eyes. I said it.
Well, hey, I'm not going to knock Rodgers because he's been an MVP the last couple of years.
Yeah, but what good does that do you? We're not even talking about Patrick Mahomes has moved past him as one of the greats of all time. That has happened. Ooh,
no doubt.
We can get into a discussion about that, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay. I have one other question for you guys. Okay. In terms of Patrick Mahomes, in terms of Eric Bieniemy, is this dude going to ever get a head coaching job in this league? Brandy.
That's
I don't know.
Tisha's like, nope. I hope not. I hope not.
I'm not sure. A lot of teams are, trying to steal some offensive coordinators from other teams. So you never know.
Well, there are no more head coaching opportunities in the NFL this coaching cycle because both of the coordinators from Philadelphia have landed in Indianapolis with the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator has landed in Phoenix with the Arizona Cardinals. We will see how those two play out. I think the better situation, Mike, for your two coordinators at this point, the better situation is in Indianapolis. What say you?
oh, no doubt, Shane. Here's the thing: Nick Sirianni was calling the plays last year. Turned it over to Shane Steichen. Steichen started running the ball, and that's how the Eagles ended up going 9-8 and ended up playing Tampa as a wild card. Even though they got just, embarrassed. But
Yeah.
I mean, Gannon to me, when you look back at the 2017, the last couple of years before Jonathan Gannon, his defense, he just reminds me of Jim Schwartz. It's like a bend don't break defense. And Jonathan Gannon the last 2 years has been getting a lot of heat. It's a shame because we had Vic Fangio as a what's the word?
Like a consultant?
Yeah, exactly. And I believe before Miami reached out, if Gannon took another position, head coaching job somewhere, the Eagles were going to hire Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator. Now that he's off to Miami.
All right, guys, let's get to these social media comments. We have my big homie out of Cleveland, George B. He says, Tisha, how does two Philly coordinators get head coaching jobs? Why is Eric Bieniemy still not a head coach in this league? Wasn't he on the winning team side? Yes, he was. And like I said, Tisha don't want that dude to go anywhere. Also, George says, but the Eagles just lost. Well, we just talked about that. George lost their OC and DC, and now they're head coaches. Will the Eagles promote from within, or will they go outside and find new people to fit their jobs? That's a question for Mike.
Well, as I've been doing my homework covering, the media here in Philly, some couple connections that do have deep ties to the Eagles. Right now, they're, as far as the offensive coordinator position, right now to be favored is Brian Johnson, who was the Jalen Hurts' quarterback coach, who Jalen Hurts' dad coached Brian Johnson in high school. So it's kind of like Jalen Hurts' mentor. Then again, I've been hearing his name been mentioned, Brian Johnson's, that is, about other offensive coordinator positions around the league.
So,
I think it would be a great addition, I believe, for Jalen Hurts. And as far as the defensive side, there's a gentleman, I believe it's a defensive backs coach named Denard Wilson, which he's been around. He's got a pretty nice resume.
He played in the league too, didn't he?
I believe he did. He's only about 40 years old, so his name's like the name. His name, as far as the Eagles in-house right now, but that's what I'm hearing.
And George, to round it off, George says, to me, watching it over and over, this was a ticky-tack call. They were letting the players play, and then the flag was thrown. I somewhat agree with that. All right, guys, let's get up out of here. Plug yourself. Mike, go. Your shows, your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, your MySpace, whatever the case is.
My show, Broad Street South, BROADST, South.com. Tune in. We're just getting our show back up. Actually, I have a show Thursday night, 8 p.m., just to break down the end of the year season for the Eagles.
All right,
Brandy, you got a lot going on, sis. Tell them what you got.
I know I do. So right now, you can follow my Twitter. It's at xbrandymarie. My Instagram is brandymariex. And then I started a new radio show yesterday. It's called Ball Talk with Brandy. I have an Instagram page. You can just follow it, Ball Talk with Brandy. That's every Monday from 5 to 6. And then I also do a music show on Thursdays on the same station.
And she also does some Her in the Huddle, right?
Yes, that as well. Her in the Huddle on Tuesdays.
There you go. That's Rachel Hill, my girl, up there, 95.9 WOVU 95.9 FM, Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, Tisha, you the star. Wrap up your first full season as a show host or show star.
Well, I want to say thanks. It's been a real honor, truly a privilege. I've had an absolute blast. Thank you guys, Mike, Brandy. I appreciate that. If you want to find me, always Shake Back Media Group, but on my Twitter, it's at it's at here, the number 4 football, Casey, obviously. And that's it. And then it's you. Mail that back to me if you're not going to wear it.
I'm going to let the dog I'm going to let the dog piss whenever the show.
Well, I'll give you my address. You could send it to me. I'll find some use for it now. Now that I lost 57.
I'm going to use it to wipe my backside. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. All right. So that's going to do it for us. A show divided. This season is in the books. It has been a privilege and a pleasure. So, for Tisha C, for Mike Fuji, for Brandy Fairfax, it's Willie Epstein Jr. This has been a show divided. Shake Back Media Group. Y'all take care of each other. Y'all hug each other. Y'all love each other. And we'll holler at y'all again real soon. Peace. We out.
Go Birds.